So I remember the first song I ever learned on the piano. I was 3 years old, and it was a classic that maybe some of you are familiar with. It's Bug in a Rug. You know it? Oh, she knows it. Sing along. Okay, it's, here's a little bug sitting in a rug. He looks pretty snug, silly little bug. Oh, so cute. I loved it. And from the moment I learned that song, I wanted to learn all of the songs. But my mom told me I had to wait till I was 6 to take piano lessons. Now, much to my chagrin, I did not start piano lessons on my 6th birthday because we moved from Syracuse to Cleveland on my 6th birthday. But we're 6 now, very resourceful. I took advantage of the 7 hours of a captive audience on my birthday ride to get all of the details about this upcoming piano that was going to happen when we got to Cleveland. What's my piano teacher's name? Where are the lessons going to be? Are we stopping and getting books on the way? What time is it? And what I ascertained along this ride, over and over again, because it was 7 hours, we had a lot of time, was that while my parents had done a great job securing a house for us to live in, cool, they had not secured a piano teacher just yet. Yeah, birthday ride's getting a lot worse, isn't it? Right? So the next day, the day after my 6th birthday, when I realized and I wake up that my mom's still not quite prioritizing the importance of the piano teacher, when she says, oh my God, stop asking me about piano, go outside, find new friends, and go play. So I decided at that point, I'm gonna need to take matters into my own hands. And I go off in search of a piano teacher. So this consists of me going door to door, because it's the 80s and it's the Midwest and it's not weird or scary at all for a 6-year-old to just go canvassing the streets of Cleveland by herself. Better days. So knock, knock, knock. And first question, are you a piano teacher? And when they said no, because most of them did, I said, okay, well, fine. Do you have any 6-year-olds I can play with? And, I don't know if 5-year-old me could have done it, but 6-year-old me crushed it that day. Because I got to spend all day playing outside with all my new friends and that afternoon running in the door with the name and phone number of one Mrs. Robinson, piano teacher extraordinaire, who had agreed to be my piano teacher. Woo! Yeah. Right, Christian. So, oh God, I loved taking piano lessons so much. I loved everything I learned, and every time I would learn something new, it was just wow, I didn't know my hands could do that. That was really cool. And then it always made me go ooh, well, if they can do that, what else can they do? And it made me push myself and always want to do more and learn more, and just, even at age 6, I decided, you know what, I don't want to just do this for fun. It is fun, I really like it. But I want this to be my life. Karen Hertel. Karen Tayo, I was thinking Karen Hertel. I am going to be a world-famous concert pianist. I'm going to be the next Mozart, I'm going to be the next Beethoven, and that is what I spent my childhood trying to do. And I competed in national competitions with kids twice my age. Continued lessons. By the time I was in high school, I was accompanying multiple choirs. I was teaching my own piano lessons. I was doing private gigs, and I continued to prepare for my college auditions so that I could continue my education in music and continue on my journey towards becoming a concert pianist. And all my hard work paid off. I did great on my auditions, it's cool, and I seemingly had my choice of some of the top music schools in the country. At which point my parents informed me that financially I had my choice of the one state school that I had applied to. So in the fall of 1998, I very gladly started the next step in my journey at JMU. Yeah, go Dukes, woo! Yeah. Now, as a performance major, the expectation is about 4 hours of practice a day on top of all your classes and all those other things. And I did that, and I lived in those windowless practice rooms in the basement of the music building. But at some point during my freshman year, my body specifically my wrists and hands, decided they were no longer on board with this plan. In fact, they were like actively sabotaging it. It started at first, it was just when I was playing. My wrists would swell. And I don't know if there's like a wrist word, like version of cankles, but like that's the visual, if that helps, of how swollen they were. And everything was so painful and so weak, and I didn't have any finger like dexterity. I could barely play Bug in a Rug. I definitely could not play the Beethoven sonata that I was supposed to be working on. And eventually it got it to the point where it wasn't just when I was playing. It was all the time. They hurt constantly, and they were so weak and so painful, and like I couldn't even open a soda can. Okay, a beer can. It was college. I couldn't open a beer. It's whatever. But I felt like I was like this dream that I'd been working towards my entire life was slipping out of my hands because they were weak and swollen and I couldn't hold anything. And after months and months of doctor's visits and physical therapy and tests, couldn't figure it out, and it wasn't getting any better. It felt like piano had defined me for so long. I felt like I was losing this part of my identity. Like, I am 19 years old here, and I am having an existential life crisis. If I can't play piano anymore, who am I? Like, what do I do? What defines me if it isn't piano? And I was not expecting the answer that the universe gave me in that moment. Because that's when I found out I was pregnant. Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Apparently, when, without piano, I am defined as sad teenage pregnancy statistic. That was fun. Yeah. All right, now, so at this point in the story, my version and then my then boyfriend's version are a little different. So he recalls, I show up at his apartment, I'm crying, I'm all sad, and I have this little bag, and when I open this bag and I dump out the contents, it becomes this Mary Poppins bag, and hundreds of positive pregnancy tests are just flying at him, and they're hitting him in the face, and he's got to dodge them, he's just getting buried, and it's terrifying. It was just the 2 positive pregnancy tests. Just the one baby. I just, want to take it twice to be sure. But I get it. It was a lot. It felt like we were getting hit in the face by a lot of blue lines. And that night, a couple nights after that, we talked about what we were going to do, and we cried a lot. This was not in the plans. And after, all the crying and all the talking and all the soul searching, we decided to have an abortion. I thought after we made that decision that the crying would stop, that I could just go back to the way easier existential life crisis of I just can't play piano anymore. But it didn't. It didn't stop. It got way worse. I just cried for hours on hours and days upon days. And what we realized was that we love each other. We know we're going to get married someday. We knew we wanted to have kids together someday. And for us to say that this one was inconvenient, it didn't feel like the right choice for us. Having a dorm baby also didn't feel like a really great option, but so we decided to drop out of school, move back up here to Northern Virginia, get married while I could still hide it and pretend it wasn't a shotgun wedding, and got really crappy paying jobs with good health insurance because that was kind of a key part financially of this plan working. And on Halloween of 2000, our beautiful son Caleb was born, and he is perfect. Now, over the past 2+ decades, I thought about going back, never for piano. We never quite figured out solve the mystery of, Riskgate 1999 or whatever it was. But, and then I find other dreams and lifelong things that I pursue, like the glamorous world of strategic pricing. That's fun. Very good at that. But when Caleb was looking at colleges and he said JMU was his #1 choice, yeah, go Dukes, we're so excited, I found out that they have an adult degree program. Ooh, I could go back with Caleb back to where it all started. Like, talk about a great circle of life story. I could get my degree. Oh, so fun. So I secretly applied. And when I got my email, it said, "You've been accepted." So excited. And then when Caleb gets his email that says he was waitlisted, okay, so I kept my good news to myself. Or I tried to. So I get this text message from him one day. And it says, "WTF? You can get into JMU and I can't?" Okay, like I added the inflection. I actually don't think whatever the punctuation keys are on his phone, I don't think they work. I guess he had checked the mail that day and sees this letter from JMU and he's like, "Ooh, so excited." And he opens it and it says, "Congratulations." He's like, "Ooh, so excited." And then reads, "Dear Karen." That might be why he was waitlisted, not very observant. So I responded with, "Twice, honey. I got in twice." All the punctuation very clear on my inflection, right? My keys work. All right, I deleted that. I didn't send it. I'm not a horrible mother. I'm not a great mom, but I'm not horrible, all right? I responded with something like much more supportive and like uplifting and like upbeat, like fun. It's like, "Don't worry, you're gonna get in. I know it's gonna happen, and then we can be roomies. It's gonna be so fun." Right? See, I thought it was funny too. He didn't think it was very funny. I'm for sure he would. And as it turns out, I was right. Moms, we're right sometimes. He did get in. Yay! And although it's not quite the way we had planned, we are roomies. Just neither of us is JMU students because neither of us finished. Me again. He's only not done it once. I'm on like time 2 at least, or maybe 4. Oh, jeez. Yeah. So we're roomies, and it's great, and like, so he, after a couple semesters, decided college wasn't right for him right then. Maybe never ever. I don't know. It's his story. It's his story to write. He's still writing it, and whatever he decides to write, it's going to be amazing because it's his story to write. I am still writing my story. I'm working on a new chapter. It's called "Karen Joins a Jazz Group Despite Having Zero Experience Playing Jazz Piano." It's a little long. I'm still workshopping the title of that one, but we'll get there. But yeah, like once a week, I go to the studio and I meet with a bunch of other musicians and we jam and we learn jazz, and it is so much fun. And I'm not very good at it, but I get a little better every week. And wow, I forgot how much I really love like learning something new on the piano. And I don't have any plans to become a world famous jazz pianist now. I have to do jazz hands every time I say jazz. But it makes me feel like when I play now, I feel like 6-year-old me. Not the 6-year-old me after she'd made all of her life plans and decided to define her entire self-worth and existence on this one thing I can do. No, like the badass 6 years and 1 day old me, where I'm out just going door to door, and getting what I want out of life. And right now I am like exploring this whole new genre that I know nothing about. I am meeting new people and making new friends, and I'm learning all these new things, and not because it's part of some plan, but because it's fun, and it makes me really happy. Because, I might not have the piece of paper in JMU that says I have a college degree like I planned, and I might not be a world-famous concert pianist like I had dreamed of, but just because our lives don't turn out the way we plan and all of our dreams don't come true, it doesn't mean we stop dreaming, and it doesn't mean we stop writing our stories. So, thank you.
Let's play.